Here's Quanell X and Big Angry Adams, ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face Off on Fox Soul starts right now.
Because I have a paper right here that shows my court started at 1 o'clock, but then when I called, right here.
I don't see 1 o'clock. Looks like I saw 9 a.m.
I had 1 o'clock on one of those papers.
You just showed me a paper, Miss Outerbridge. That
yes,
said
I did. Right. So when I called.
No, we can't talk at the same time.
Well, I apologize for being late. Excuse me.
Stop.
You asked me a question. I'm just trying to answer it.
I know. Put whatever you're trying to prepare down.
I'm trying to see my daughter.
Get your coat. You gotta put your properly dressed on. I am
properly dressed. I have on a t-shirt. I am properly dressed.
Is that a robe?
It's the problem, sir. I'm not even doing that to you. Ask me a question. I'm answering. My daughter is sick. I had to keep her home from school. I'm just trying to feed her. That is it.
Understandable, but you're in court.
Miss Outerbridge, I'm sorry that your daughter is sick. But again, you're in court, okay? And we're going to treat it as such.
I'm properly dressed.
No, don't talk.
I have on clothes. I have on clothes. I have on clothes.
Fine, Miss Outerbridge.
I have on clothes.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
So, Quanell, that was Michigan Judge Sean Perkins dealing with a defendant in his courtroom, using the term in his courtroom in the modern 2025 meeting downstream from the COVID lockdowns. I ceased to be a judge in 2018. We did not have virtual, or maybe 2017. We didn't have virtual courts. It's not something that I would have been opposed to. I was a very low-level judge. I think it would have expedited the dockets. But it has led to a number of viral encounters with jurists and participants that have been wild, right? We had someone that showed up as a cat with some sort of, there's just all this weird stuff. Here, the judge clearly getting upset, and he felt like the woman had disrespected the decorum of the court by wearing a bathrobe, by apparently showing up late because she thought she was supposed to be there at 1. And it is absurd to show up late when you're attending virtually. But also, it appeared she was fixing a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. She was doing a lot of things that you're not going to do as a defendant in the courtroom, because clearly she did not appreciate that she was supposed to be behaving identically to how she would behave if she was actually in the courtroom in front of the judge. I think it's a perception issue. I think it's off. I do think it should be expected.
But Charles, I think that both the lady in this case, the sister, and the judge, the brother, both of them were right and both of them were wrong.
How was the judge wrong?
They both were right and they both was wrong. Let's start with the judge.
Okay.
Your Honor, you must understand that this young woman is not an officer of the court. When you speak about court decorum, for his appearance, etc., many people who go to court, especially young people, like she's a young woman, don't even fully understand court decorum when it comes to clothing, etc.
Why not?
The judge also understood that she was not represented by counsel. And so if I was the judge, recognizing there's some obvious challenges there, before I go back and forth with this lady, let me appoint you counsel who can give you better advice, and let me reset you because your child is sick and you just made that aware to me. So I can understand you probably being late. You don't have counsel. You got sick children home. Okay, ma'am, this may be a bit much for you. Let me appoint you counsel and reset your case, or at least reset it and give you advisory that when you come back before us, ma'am, please make sure if your child is sick, someone is there to assist to help you. Make sure your child is fed before court proceedings start. And ma'am, I can't hold you in contempt if you don't show up on time. That is the rules of the court. Explain that to her. Be empathetic toward the situation of a sick child being there and that child is hungry. Okay, she's probably a single mother. Have some compassion toward that lady. Now, Mama, let me tell you where you were wrong. Mama, if you knew you had a court proceeding that day, show up on time. Don't make excuses. 2, if you know your daughter was sick, speak to a neighbor, speak to a family, speak to a friend, and see if they can assist you and at least be there with you while you're maintaining the court appearance so you won't be late, you won't be in contempt, and make sure that when you come to the court, don't look like you just woke up in the morning. Put on something respectful that lets the courts know you respect the authority of that proceeding and you respect the judge in that case also. But to the judge, you talked about the woman's decorum and having a bathrobe on. Yeah, you're right. But there are also certain distinguished gentlemen of courtrooms who are officers of the court who would say that you should have on a tie, sitting up there on the bench in a robe. The fact that you're sitting up with a robe on and no tie, you have former judges and current judges who would say that's inappropriate for the bench. So before we start critiquing somebody's clothing, Your Honor, let's take a look in the mirror.
Okay, first of all, I don't think the judge did anything wrong. I think you should probably expect those encounters, but I thought he was very respectful when she was being very disrespectful. She kept interrupting him. She was doing things that she shouldn't have been doing. She was obviously dressed in a bathrobe. But I'm surprised by what I see is the incredibly racist nature of your assumptions about this woman, right? You're assuming she's indigent and deserves appointed counsel.
So why is that racist?
Because there's nothing to base that assumption on. Why do you assume she's poor?
So wait a minute. So if I believe somebody may be economically indigent,
based on what?
How does race play a role?
What was
because there's poor white people,
right.
Poor Latino people, poor black people. So if I assume this sister may be poor to where she cannot afford counsel, that makes it racist?
So why are you assuming she can't afford counsel?
Because it's obvious that she's in a courtroom having a Zoom court appearance, and you don't go into a courtroom without having counsel.
No, that's not true.
But guess what, though?
That's not true.
That's where the judge made a mistake. Your Honor, it's her first court appearance, and obviously she needs assistance and help. Appoint her counsel or reset her case and say come back with counsel.
Why are you assuming that she was not aware how you should behave in court? Why are you assuming
because
she had
she's not an officer of the court. She doesn't deal with the courts on a daily basis. She doesn't work in courtrooms. So if you don't work in courtrooms and you don't deal with courts all the time, now you don't sit there and say, watch some damn Law and Order, watch some TV, and that gives you an idea about courtroom decorum.
But should.
You didn't lost your damn mind.
No, we have a flood of disrespectful, rude people in America who don't ever hear anything. You know, you go into any place, someone's blaring their device on a cell phone without headphones. We see video after video online of people just behaving just horribly. And then when called out on it, getting angry, crashing out.
And play the victim.
And playing the victim. This woman put on a robe, was late for court, was not handling her business, kept interrupting the judge. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. It takes a somewhat adequate upbringing to know you should shut up.
But that often happens in courtrooms
and the thing is,
where the defendant or the client does not have adequate representation.
Here's the solution.
And that's why lawyers, and you know that, being a lawyer yourself, you know the best person to advise a client of what they can and cannot say, should or should not say, is counsel.
Hey, look,
and so you as a lawyer should be the first one to say, don't attend any court proceeding where you don't have counsel.
Hey, I agree. And I give my clients, when, I don't do criminal offenses, I did it for 20 years. I would tell them what to wear. I was very specific, and I had one client show up with a F the police t-shirt on, right? People don't always listen. He
kept it all the way real.
Right? But no, he didn't keep it all the way real. He was a damn fool ready for his day. He was a damn fool. And she was a damn fool. My issue with your take on this is you began by criticizing both participants.
They both were right, and they both were wrong.
The judge was wholly wrong. Wholly right. He was respectful to her throughout. He didn't ever raise the issue of contempt, which I would have certainly raised if I was on the bench. She was disrespectful. She was rude. She managed to be somehow condescending and just, oh, woe is me. I've got all these problems. And she's a defendant, right?
If she admitted to having problems, Charles.
Yeah, and he
obviously
recognized it.
As a seasoned judge.
He was.
I hope he was.
He was.
He should be able to recognize, look, this lady needs counsel. Let me appoint her counsel. And let me stop her.
Her need for
and let me stop her from saying anything else that may hurt her further. That's why they tell people you have a right to remain silent. What you're saying can and will be used against you in a courtroom. Okay. So look, bottom line is, I'm telling the truth.
No, you're wrong.
This judge did nothing wrong. If you're on your way to court, don't you go into court and say a damn thing without a lawyer present.
Here's the thing.
If you go to court and start running your mouth without a lawyer being present, you done talked yourself into a problem you won't be able to walk out of.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but I do disagree with the notion that somehow the judge did anything wrong. What this is an argument for is ending virtual appearances in criminal courts, right?
But you just said it was a good thing.
Well, it's a
It
good thing in
expedites
some
the docket.
I think we've gotten to the point where people can go back to going, right? And especially in more serious, I don't know the crime she was charged with. If it was a traffic level offense, if it was a not punishable by imprisonment or jail, then yeah, let's have online virtual dockets. Let's make it more convenient for people to attend and participate. But if it's a serious matter, we have to have people going to court. We have to have
But there's
the
a way,
function of our justice
you know,
system.
defendants can really shut that system down.
Okay.
Defendants in courtrooms can really shut that system down. And in fact, the real power is in the hand of defendants. Can you imagine?
not.
Oh, let me tell you how. If everybody in jail, if everybody on a criminal case said we not accepting no plea agreements, no matter what, we all going to trial, it would shut the entire criminal justice system all the way completely down. It would take them 20 years to prosecute some of them cases. If everybody decided we're not going to take no plea deals, we all going to trial, it would financially break the system. And you know what they would do? They'll start dismissing cases because they won't have the money to try them.
Okay. That is horrible advice.
I'm just telling you how they can do it.
Following that advice will lead to a great number of people getting far longer
It will lead to a great number of dismissals because they won't have the money to prosecute them cases.
If you have a good lawyer, your lawyer should be arguing for a dismissal.
If you got a plea bargain specialist who specializes in getting you to go to jail and convince you it's the best place for you in the name of your lawyer, baby.
There are many times when a plea bargain is the best avenue to
there are some times, yes it is.
Because most people.
But far too many times you got some of these lawyers who are not trial lawyers, ain't never been to trial, practicing law, and they specialize in one thing, getting you to plea so they can move on to the next case.
And the flip side is you have a number of lawyers who are financially incentivized to go to trial and don't care when clients get locked up for decades. I mean, we do have problems with the system, but one of the problems with the system is this woman. The other problem is not the judge, because he was very respectful throughout. I think we should be applauding him.
He wasn't disrespectful, but he wasn't empathetic toward the situation.
What are you talking about?
He wasn't.
I would have held her in contempt the second time she interrupted me.
But I'm the racist one, but you're going to put it in contempt.
What had nothing to do with the race?
Second time that black woman interrupted me, I'm going to put her in jail.
With the fact she was being disrespectful. She was being disrespectful.
I'm gonna put that sister in jail. Look at you. That's real quick change.
The judge was very appropriate and very considerate.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love, your mind.
Hey, it's your girl Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, you know we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in, because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 10:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Ready to lose track of time the best way possible?
Roll it!
From the funniest videos to the wildest things online, we do the scrolling so you don't have to.
It's Usher. He had that synthetic hair melting. You hear me? Why y'all talking about that lady hair like that? Ain't he alone?
Catch us every weeknight, 7 p.m. Central on Fox Soul.
Louder for the people in the back.
I was a quarterback at Hardaway High School. College first-round draft pick. During the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal, love your mind.
Well, on Fox Face Off, we tell the raw, unadulterated truth.
Fox Soul Face-Off
We are given the platform here with no fear.
always comes out swinging.
We should be saying, hey, stop shooting and killing people.
Nothing held back.
They wanted black hip-hop moguls and artists to continue the feud.
No punches pulled.
And
Shut
neighborhoods
the hell
go,
up. You
and
interrupt
let
me all
speak
the
to my
time.
people.
Tune into the show where opinions collide. Fox Soul Face-Off. New episodes weeknights at 9 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
I'm Isaiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. We challenge the status quo and get down to real talk and bold discussions. Join us as we amplify the voices that disrupt, inspire, and lead the charge for change. Your story is power, and we're here to unleash it.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored. New episodes weeknights at 9:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I got the snap ready.
Hey, you're paying your tab. You're paying your tab. You're paying tab. You get your paying tab.
This round, here's Quanell X.
Charles, we just watched a viral video that's really been going around social media of a black brother in an Indiana bar, obviously on duty from work or off duty from work or something like that. He had his work uniform vest on. There was some issue with his bar tab, and allegedly, according to white racists inside the bar, he didn't want to pay his tab. So the bar patrons, a white biker gang, called themselves, I believe, the Outlaws, decided to administer punishment to him on the spot. They beat the hell out of this brother and was calling him the N-word over and over, beat that N-word. And it is sad what we watched. It angered me because white boys are real tough when they large in numbers and a black man's by himself. What I think a black biker gang should go to that same bar that the Outlaws like to hang at, and they should go inside that bar and get their tab going. And then at some point when there's a disagreement of that tab, perhaps, then let's see how the furniture moves in that same bar when the numbers are equal. Because see, you love calling brothers the N-word, especially when he by himself and you beat the hell out of him. But had those numbers been equal, I don't think the outcome would have been the same.
The fact that you can sit here with a straight face and suggest that somehow white people have a monopoly on ganging up and jumping people, despite all of the social media evidence and anecdotal evidence of that not being in any way exclusively a white thing, when we have seen video after video after video. I can see why you picked this video, because it is an anomaly. It's an anomaly with a group of white people beating up a black guy.
White folks have a history of attacking black men in large numbers by themselves. Remember James Byrd Jr. Right there in Jasper, Texas?
Well, that was 3
Let's
guys.
not pretend.
And they
Remember
were
Rodney King and those racist white cops, how they beat and jumped him? Remember Eric Garner, how those Klan members wearing police uniforms choked him to death on the sidewalk and they were all set free? White men have a history of gang up beating black men by themselves. That ain't nothing new. Remember Mississippi? Where the security officer in Mississippi was just trying to tell the white people they was parked in the wrong place. They couldn't park there, and then white folks thought he was by himself, and they jumped him. But they did not know that there was a boat full of black folks on that same river. They did not know that there was a black Aquaman who dived in that damn water and was breaststroking to the other side.
Okay. And I remember that very same video where the African-American guy was bashing the white woman that was just standing there with
who was swinging on the black guy first, and she happened to get her head
but more importantly, so you've come up with 5 incidents over 30 or 40 years.
Oh, this just a couple of months ago with the river, a year ago with the river boat ride.
You started with one that happened 30 years ago where the 3 guys that did it were executed because they were monstrous murderers. And in those 3 incidents, there are probably 100 videos floating around from this year where you have seen groups of people attack one person that don't match your racial dialogue.
Yelling white racial slurs at them.
That don't match your racial
These guys
dialogue.
were yelling racial slurs at this brother.
I'm not defending these guys. In fact, I think
they could have just called the police.
I think that
they could have just called the cops.
Well, one of the problems in America right now is that when people skip tabs, right? And we do see on social media video after video after video of people skipping tabs. They seem to have a racial bent in those videos too, but I wouldn't use that as an excuse to demonize any race of people. But if it's true, which we don't know, if it's true that this guy skipped his tab, right, it would be perfectly fine, I think, for patrons to stop him and force him to pay.
And force him to pay.
I don't think it's
okay.
That's
fine. That's not legal, sir.
I don't think it's okay. You were actually advocating for gang violence. I'm
advocated self-defense.
No, you are advocating for a group of people to go there and
that same bar.
Okay,
since you white boys like to jump black brothers, go to the same bar.
Well, you white
and
boys.
make them numbers equal and even.
Because I share a complexion with
I'm not talking about you. I mean them white boys with this biker gang.
Hold on. Let's
Since
be
y'all
clear.
like to beat brothers,
I'm
one
a
deep.
Good white
black.
boy.
No, I didn't say that lie. But black biker gang. That's another lie. Okay. But black biker gang should go to that same bar and introduce themselves.
How about one? People shouldn't be racist, whether it's the group of outlaw bikers there in Indiana or the guy sitting across from me at the table. That we shouldn't define people by race. People shouldn't skip checks. When people do skip checks.
I agree with that. But that's the police job to arrest and prosecute.
Well, here's the real problem we have in America nowadays is police. Like when I was a policeman in the 90s, if a restaurant called me and said, hey, this person, we stopped them, they skipped the check, we would go out there and arrest them for theft of service. Police don't show up anymore. Right? We've got this new era in America where shoplifting just goes completely unchecked. We're watching looting go on. We talked about it earlier in the week, go on unchecked in Los Angeles. We have this time in America where we're told as citizens we must just quietly endure, as law-abiding citizens, we must quietly endure crime.
You don't think that was a hate crime?
That is over. By beating him and yelling the N-word?
You don't think that was a hate crime?
Look, I think it was most certainly assault. Right, and it looks like.
And you don't think them glasses that they was throwing at his head is an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon?
You're not going to get me defending.
And yelling the N-word, that's not a hate crime?
From what I've read about this outlaw biker gang is they consider themselves one percenters akin to Hell's Angels or the Banditos here in Texas. You're not going to have me defending bikers. Okay, it does sound like he was in a biker bar. It is probably a bad idea to go into a biker-dominated biker bar.
I agree with you on that one.
And skip
yeah,
a check.
brother. That was a bad idea, brother.
You're not going to get me going in down to OST, right? Which I have been before. No.
You can come in the hood.
Oh, I go all the time.
Go to the bar and get you a drink. Of course you can.
Let me finish my sentence. You're not going to have me going into OST, starting trouble, and trying to skip my check without expecting a beating.
6'10".
Right?
Nobody gonna whoop you.
Look, I ain't got a bad knee. I'm an old man. I'll take a whooping, right? But I'm not going to behave like that. Now, here's the real problem that I have here is we're all assuming he skipped a check. We've seen no evidence of that because they were just screaming and yelling. What if they were doing like sometimes police will do when someone's not resisting? Stop resisting. What if they were just beating this poor man?
My
what if he
concern
paid
is
his tab
why we
and
have
was
not
just
seen
black
a
and a
press
white
conference
face?
Investigating this as a potential hate crime.
Okay, crime is crime. I know that you want
this one is motivated by race.
Oh, it's clearly motivated.
Beat that N-word. Beat that N-word.
It appeared to be motivated by
yeah.
theft. And I don't have a lot of patience for thieves either, right? And if he was in fact truly trying to steal from that restaurant, I'm not heartbroken that he got a beating. I am bothered by the racism.
I'm heartbroken he got a beating and he was dumped by them dudes. Yes, I'm heartbroken by that.
Well, on Fox Face-Off, we tell the raw, unadulterated truth.
Fox Soul Face-Off.
We are given the platform here with no fear.
Always comes out swinging.
We should be saying, hey, stop shooting and killing people.
Nothing held back.
They wanted black hip-hop moguls and artists to continue the feud.
No punches pulled.
And shut the hell up.
You interrupt me all the time.
Tune into the show where opinions collide. Fox Soul Face-Off. New episodes weeknights at 9 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Hey, it's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, you know we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 10:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
I'm Isaiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. We challenge the status quo and get down to real talk and bold discussions. Join us as we amplify the voices that disrupt, inspire, and lead the charge for change. Your story is power, and we're here to unleash it.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored. New episodes weeknights at 9:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul. That's it for the Face-Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.
I'm Isaiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. We challenge the status quo and get down to real talk and bold discussions. Join us as we amplify the voices that disrupt, inspire, and lead the charge for change. Your story is power, and we're here to unleash it.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored. New episodes weeknights at 9:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Well, on Fox Face-Off, we tell the raw, unadulterated truth.
Fox Soul Face-Off.
We are given the platform here with no fear.
Always comes out swinging.
We should be saying, hey, stop shooting and killing people.
Nothing held back.
They wanted black hip-hop moguls and artists to continue the feud.
No punches pulled.
And shut the hell up.
You interrupt me all the time.
Tune into the show where opinions collide. Fox Soul Face-Off. New episodes weeknights at 9 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Hey, it's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, you know we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 10:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Hey, besties!
What is a bestie?
I like you.
She's fun.
It's about to be a good time.
She's always looking out for you.
Since you're my bestie, I will handle it for you.
She makes you think.
Here to uplift and empower.
She's always encouraging.
You are that girl.
Chelsea Edwards, your bestie in daytime.
Like it's a spiritual moment.
Chatting with Chelsea. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I'm not the guy you look at. You gotta get out of the way. Hey!
Houston area homeowners say his rights were violated in a Factor exclusive. He speaks out tonight after police enter his home without a warrant. Plus, protesters against ICE raids continue across the country with armed troops joining police on the ground, and their role goes far beyond crowd control.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight. Protests against the President Trump-approved immigration raids have been taking place around the country, including in Los Angeles. Now, LA's mayor is calling for an 8 p.m. curfew and President Trump ordering 2,000